Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Wave Podcast, episode 4. Now, I know this episode has been very delayed, and I want to apologize for that. There's been a lot happening, but we're finally here, and I'm excited for this episode. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Before we get into it, I want to plug 2 of my socials. First, TikTok at the Wave Pod, and Twitter/X at the Wave Pod. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get right into the video. First thing I want to talk about is the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 41 and why I think it is the most important match at WrestleMania, probably in WWE history right now. Right now, it feels like the WWE Championship is in a state of dullness. Now, that's not because of Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is an amazing talent. I think he's an amazing wrestler. I just think creative they didn't have a real storyline for Cody Rhodes after he won it against Roman Reigns last year at WrestleMania. They try to add in the new bloodline with Solo Sikoa, trying to recapture the WWE Championship for the bloodline, and it just didn't work out. I thought, obviously, maybe they have Randy turn heel, him and Randy feud it out, probably take the feud all the way to SummerSlam. Randy wins it at SummerSlam, but we really didn't see that. And I think they missed a big opportunity when they had the 6-man tag team match at Money in the Bank, where Randy could have turned on both Kevin and Cody, setting up a very big feud with Cody, maybe even possibly going to WrestleMania. And I think they just missed it on that. So I think at this year's WrestleMania, something has to change. Now, I'm not saying Cody is a terrible WWE champion. He's been a great WWE champion. I mean, he's been putting on remarkable matches with Solo, with AJ Styles. Just a number of guys. Kevin Owens. That feud was very, very entertaining. I really thought Kevin had him in the last pay-per-view. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Hold up now. But I just don't think there was really any real storylines going for Cody Rhodes' way. So, in my personal opinion, I believe the WWE Championship should change hands for John Cena. Now, I know he has said in his promos that he's going to leave WWE, he's going to take the title with him, and then WWE is going to try to recreate the title and make it a phony title. But I think that should be the way that we go. Have it like when CM Punk left the WWE with the WWE Championship. But don't have him come back in 8 days. Have him come back in like a year or 2 to make it seem like, okay, maybe he was actually for real. Maybe he was actually he was being genuine about it. But I think Cody still needs to be the WWE champion. This is why. If Cody wins that championship, in the back of his head, he's always going to have that thought, what if I actually am the phony WWE champion? What if I am actually not worthy to hold this title? So then you have Cody Rhodes start calling out John Cena for a rematch at next year's WrestleMania. Come on. It's right there. It's right there. You could probably even throw in Randy Orton in that, honestly. I don't know if... Well, yeah. Randy could probably work, but I think Cody has to be still, air quotes, the WWE champion. But in the back of his head, it's like killing him almost, just knowing that people are still looking at Cody and thinking, yeah, you might be the WWE champion right now, but the real WWE champion is on SNL or he's in a movie right now and he has the title with him during interviews, live television, like just mocking Cody 24/7, and it's killing Cody knowing that last year he failed. He failed everybody, and it's in his head. He can't get it out. He can't get the image of him laying on the mat, looking up into the lights and knowing that the real WWE champion is not in WWE. So he starts calling out John Cena. He tells John Cena, if I can't beat you at WrestleMania, I will leave WWE and quit wrestling forever. Come on now. Now, I know that means that Cody has to hold the title until next year's WrestleMania. I'm sure they'll have other feuds for Cody when he wins the fake WWE title. Like, we could throw in Randy, LA Knight, I think deserves a shot at that title. Jacob Fatu. But at the end, I think it has to be the rematch of John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. The replacement title versus the actual title. Winner takes all. I just think that this year's WrestleMania could serve as one of the biggest outcomes in WWE history, and I think the WWE needs to go this direction. Finally, we have the favor revealed by CM Punk on last week's Friday Night SmackDown. CM Punk wants Paul Heyman in his corner at WrestleMania. Now, this segment was very interesting, very entertaining, very, very just chaotic. This whole feud has just been chaotic from all three ways, from Seth Rollins to CM Punk to Roman Reigns, and now Paul Heyman is thrown into this. And then the Monday following that, Paul Heyman came out by himself and said that he is going to support CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So who's he going to walk out with? Is he going to walk out by himself? Is he going to walk out with Roman Reigns? Is he going to walk out with CM Punk? It's very interesting because it almost feels like Seth is being left out for a certain reason. There's been a lot of speculation on Twitter/X that Paul Heyman and CM Punk are in cahoots with The Rock. That's why Seth Rollins curb stomped CM Punk at Elimination Chamber, giving John Cena the win. That way John Cena can be in this position to win the WWE title from Cody Rhodes and having this where The Rock is in control of everything, showing Cody Rhodes that just because you're the WWE champion doesn't mean you run the WWE. I think that would be a great concept. I think it's perfect for how Triple H writes stories. Sometimes he'll have other stories combined with some newer stories, some older stories. In the long-term storytelling is also in Triple H's books. I think it would be interesting to see Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins together. I think that would be a great dynamic duo, and it would just add to Paul Heyman's resume of like WWE Hall of Famers that have been paired with Paul Heyman, and I think it's just perfect. So the way I see it is that both CM Punk and Roman Reigns are going into this thinking, okay, things have been a little bit rocky with Paul, but I know he has my back. I know he's not going to betray me, stab me in the back. So I'm going to go in here with a lot of confidence. And then just like that, Seth Rollins comes into the mix. He gets the win. He gets the main event. He gets the main event moment of night one. And then Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman have joined forces. I think that would be a great way to end night one of WrestleMania 41. But ultimately, I still think Paul Heyman is going to turn on Roman Reigns, and Punk is finally going to get his win at WrestleMania. I just think the writing's on the wall. Punk finally gets his main event, and he finally gets his main event moment. So I'm going to stick with my WrestleMania prediction. Paul Heyman will turn on Roman Reigns, and CM Punk will get the win on night one in the main event. So the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. We're in the second to last week until we get to the playoffs. And a lot has happened. So it's got me thinking, going into these playoffs, who can beat the Thunder in a playoff series? And I think it is the Lakers. The Lakers have the best format and the best scheme to beat the Thunder. They play them very physically. They almost outsmart them to an extent. You saw where the Lakers were just spamming pick and roll at one point with Luka and the center, whoever that might be, Jackson Hayes or small ball Rui. And it kind of messes with Chet because he has to make a decision. Do I go out to the 3-point line and try to guard Luka Doncic? Now, no disrespect to Chet, but I don't think he's that good of a perimeter defender. He still needs to work on his defense in general. But as of right now, he's just not that good of a perimeter defender, especially against Luka. So, you're giving Luka two options. Either one, Chet's going to be too slow to get to Luka, and Luka's going to get up an easy look from the arc. Or two, you're giving the pick and roller, or the roller, an easy look at the basket, easy dump down dunk. It's just the Lakers know how to force their way with the Thunder. You even saw it with the first game of the back-to-back games. When they played the Thunder, they forced Shea into shots that he doesn't normally take. Now, granted, dude was knocking it down. All right, SGA, this dude is having one of the greatest guard seasons we have ever seen in our lives. And the Lakers tried their hardest to make him uncomfortable. He did not look uncomfortable. He was making majority of those shots. But I feel like that's what you need to do with this Thunder team. You need to have SGA make these decisions. All right, can I trust my guys to knock down this shot, or do I just need to take this tough shot that I know I'm going to hit because I have the length whenever I jump? I can shoot over anybody. Or I can just dump it down to one of my guys who's wide open in the corner, wide open at the arc, or wide open in the paint, and hope that they can hit their shots. Now, the first game, it didn't happen. It was just SGA out there. Nobody was really hitting their shots. And that is the perfect scenario for the Lakers. Why I say perfect is because it's not going to happen all the time. It's just not. This Thunder team is going to hit their shots. They're not going to miss opportunities to do that. Because all year, they've just been a dominant team. This team is number one in net rating, and they're number one in defensive rating. And a historic defense, an historic offense, mainly from SGA. This team is an argument for greatest regular season team of all time. With that being said, though, this team can still be upsetted in a playoff series, but I think the only team that can do that is the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the other team that I was thinking of is the Minnesota Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves would have to go through a gauntlet to get to the conference finals to see the Oklahoma City Thunder. But if they can get through that gauntlet, I would almost be reluctant to not pick them. Now, with all that being said, that is easier said than done. Because like I said, this OKC Thunder team is one of the all-time greatest regular season teams we have ever seen. So asking the question, who can upset the Thunder, is more like finding a needle in a haystack. Because there's not many holes in the Thunder scheme. You can't really just pick out one thing and exploit it for a majority of the game because there's not really any. So, the one real team that I think can upset the Thunder and have a good chance of upsetting the Thunder would be the Los Angeles Lakers. Still talking about the NBA playoffs. Going into this playoffs, I want to talk about the most underrated team in this playoffs. And I think that is the Minnesota Timberwolves. When you have a guy like Anthony Edwards, I mean, you have a chance of making it to the conference finals. That's how good Anthony Edwards is. He will put you on your back and he will carry you to the destination of where you're wanting to go. Now, the supporting cast around him is not the greatest. Sure, you have Jaden McDaniels. He's been very inconsistent this year, though. You have Rudy Gobert, a offensive liability, but an elite defender in the paint. You have Nickeil Alexander, who I think should start over Mike Conley, but he still has his flaws. Speaking of Mike Conley, you have Mike Conley, who is now in his part of his career where he no longer makes an impact. Teams are leaving him open because he just can't shoot anymore. He can't hit shots. So now you're asking Anthony Edwards to carry the offensive load. Oh, wait, not even... I forgot to mention Julius Randle, the man that goes into the playoffs and doesn't know how to play basketball anymore. So now you're asking Anthony Edwards to carry this huge load on the offensive side. And honestly, I think he's built for that. I think Anthony Edwards is built to do that. He is built to carry a team on his back to at least the conference finals. So the most underrated team is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think it's partly due with matchups. Because in the West, I think if they get paired up with the Houston Rockets, I mean, that's tough because I would almost pick Minnesota to win that. But I think Houston's offense is slightly better. But then again, nobody can really stop Anthony Edwards. I mean, you could put Amin Thompson on him. And I still think Anthony Edwards is going to at least give you 36 and 4 on a nightly basis. That would probably be a 7-game series because both teams have elite defenses. Both teams play very physical, very in-your-face defense. But like the Houston Rockets, this team does have an elite defensive core. They're all bought in on the defensive side, even Julius Randle, who I think is probably the biggest X factor for this Minnesota Timberwolves team. If Julius Randle can find a way to get out of the playoff funk that he is in right now, this team can make a huge run. Again, it is based off matchup, but I believe the most underrated team in the playoffs is the Minnesota Timberwolves, and if they match up with the Houston Rockets, they can make it to the conference finals. Let's talk some NFL. Now, going into this draft, there's a lot of high-end prospects. There's a lot of talented prospects in this draft. There's not really that clear-cut generational guy, but there is that clear-cut number one overall pick, and obviously it's going to be Cam Ward. But when you are the number one overall pick, that does not always mean that you are the best player in the draft. So I got to thinking, who is the best player in the NFL draft? Is it Travis Hunter, who plays cornerback and wide receiver at a very high and very elite level? Is it Ashton Genty, who is, in my opinion, a generational running back and should be picked in the top 10 for sure? He's definitely a blue chip prospect in this draft. And then I got to experimenting a little bit with Ted McMillan, but obviously Ted McMillan is not like Travis Hunter or Ashton Genty. But there is one guy that is like that. Abdul Carter, I believe, will go down as the best player in this draft. Abdul Carter has this unique ability to get to the quarterback in a fast-paced way. Now, sure, he's not the greatest run defender that you want out of an edge, especially on the outside. But I think with Cleveland, they need to pair Myles Garrett up with somebody who can also get to the quarterback. You saw it with Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith had an outstanding season when he was paired up with Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett was getting most of the attention. Obviously, Myles Garrett still put up monster numbers that season. But when Myles Garrett is getting most of the attention, that opens up the other side of the field for the other edge rusher to get to the quarterback faster than what he normally would. So I think putting Abdul Carter in that situation with Cleveland makes the most sense. I think he should be the number 2 overall pick. I know there's been a little debates about maybe Travis Hunter should be the number 2 overall pick, or maybe they should experiment with Ashton Genty because Nick Chubb is still not healthy. But I think that's a huge stretch. So, in my opinion, Abdul Carter is by far the best player in this draft. I mean, coming out of college, he had 12 sacks, 68 combined tackles, 43 of them were solo tackles. And he played every single game, especially the bowl game, all of the playoffs. I mean, when you watch Abdul Carter play and you watch the film, you see elite skill set. You see an elite foot movement. You see elite bull rush movement. I mean, this man is just a huge person. It sounds really weird to describe somebody like that, but he is a massive man who is coming at you at an elite speed off the edge, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, in my opinion, with the skill set that Abdul Carter has, there's no doubt in my mind that I think he will go down as the best player in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now let's talk about the Aaron Rodgers drama. This Aaron Rodgers free agency frenzy has been going on for a very long time now, and I would have expected this man to either already retire or sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers because clearly they need a quarterback. And now there's reports that are saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going going to go after a quarterback, even if Aaron Rodgers signs. Well, now you done told everybody, including Aaron Rodgers, that even if he does sign, we're basically just going to use him for a year as a bridge quarterback into another quarterback. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Now, I understand that Aaron Rodgers is towards the end of his career. He's at the tail end of it. He didn't look very good in New York. I think that was more of the offensive scheme that was around him. But if you're Pittsburgh, why not give this man just like a 2-year deal? You already have the wide receiver core. You have an amazing defense. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is half of what he was in his last MVP season, this team can make a deep run in the playoffs, in my opinion. Sure, they probably couldn't beat the Ravens or the Bills or the Chiefs, but they could get lucky. They can have like injury luck on the other side of the ball and possibly make a conference championship. But it just doesn't make any sense to me why Pittsburgh is waiting so long to offer this man like at least a 2-year deal. Now, I may be getting this wrong. It may just be Aaron Rodgers. That's just sitting there and just muling his options, because there's also been reports that he's going to wait and see if there's a vacancy with another team via injury, which I guess makes sense because you wouldn't be playing all 17 games and wearing yourself out. But then again, you'll be rusty because that's almost half. It's probably going to be like half the season at that point. But then there's also been reports now that with Derek Carr's shoulder injury that the New Orleans Saints are now in play for Aaron Rodgers. So this whole thing is just spiraling out of control. And I almost saw this coming because nothing is just normal with Aaron Rodgers anymore. Nothing was ever normal with Aaron Rodgers. Even when this man entered into the NFL draft, nothing was normal. This man went from a potential number 1 overall pick and fell all the way down to the late 20s where Green Bay picked him. And then the rest is just history. I mean, drama has followed this dude throughout his whole NFL career. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less now. Obviously, I still think he becomes a Pittsburgh Steeler before training camp starts. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will make the playoffs if that does happen. It still will not shock me, though, if they do draft a quarterback in the late round, either late first or early second. Maybe trade up and get a Jackson Dart or wait for Will Howard, something in that nature. But man, I am tired of just sitting around and waiting on if Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or not. I mean, Aaron, come on, dude. Just tell us that you're going to retire or tell us that you're going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. We're dying over here. We want to know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on the well-awaited episode here at the Wave Podcast. It's already episode 4. And honestly, I just want to thank every single one of y'all for showing support on this channel, showing support on the TikTok, showing support on the YouTube Shorts, showing support on the Twitter. It means a lot. I've been wanting to do stuff like this for a very long time. So to see all the support means a lot. Thank you all. Again, if you want to, go follow the TikTok, go follow my Twitter. Also leave a comment down below what you think about this episode, and go ahead and subscribe because, hey, next week I'm coming with episode 5. All right, y'all. I'll see you all next week.